The Sidney Auto-Vue Drive-In Theater is located at 1409 4th Avenue in Sidney, Ohio. This drone footage was filmed on November 2nd, 2024. Welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we're going to show you the Sidney Auto-Vue Drive-In Theater. The drive-in is located at 1409 4th Avenue in Sidney, Ohio, and it opened in 1956. We filmed the drone footage and walk-around video back in November of 2024. It's now February of 2025, and as we're finishing up the video, we needed to make an opening and a closing for it. We really wanted to do it outside underneath one of the signs, but the weather these last couple weeks has been horrible here. So I guess the next best thing is we're sitting in a parking lot right next to the drive-in, and if you look behind us there, you can kind of see the screen. While we were doing the research for the Auto-Vue Drive-In, we discovered that at one time, Sidney had two drive-in theaters. The other drive-in was known as the Sidney Drive-In. It was located 4 miles north of town at the intersection of County Road 25A and Sharp Road. It operated from 1949 until 1959. We learned this information from the Cinema Treasures website. The Cinema Treasures website, along with the contributor R. Studer, and I hope I'm saying that right, they've given us permission to use the following photos that we're going to show you here. The Sidney Drive-In was located 4 miles north of Sidney at the intersection of Sharp Road and County Road 25A. It opened in May of 1949 and was built on farmland leased from Lester E. Finkenbein. Initially, it was a 4-year lease with options for year-to-year leases later. The Sidney Drive-In had a 350-car capacity with RCA in-a-car speakers. It also featured a dance floor under the screen tower for dancing prior to showtime. The Sidney Drive-In was closed at the end of the 1959 season, and it was never reopened. Since the Sidney Drive-In was on leased land, it was demolished and the property was returned back to farmland.
It is very cool to see some of these old advertisements, especially the prices that they had back then.
Yeah, they're not like the prices of today, are they?
No, you're not getting nowhere near that.
Well, once again, we'd like to thank R. Studer, and we've put the name up on the screen so we can give proper credit. We'd like to thank R. Studer and the Cinema Treasures website for allowing us to use those photos. We'll go ahead and put a link in the description to the Cinema Treasures website. We would encourage you to visit this website, especially if you're interested in movie theaters, as this website is a guide to over 60,000 movie theaters across the world. The focus of today's video is the Sidney Auto-Vue Drive-In Theater. And this theater opened in 1956. According to Google, there's less than 400 drive-in theaters still operating in the U.S. Drive-in theaters were once a big part of American culture, and it's sad to see that there's fewer and fewer of them operating today. Sadly, in October of 2024, it was announced that the Sidney Auto-Vue Drive-In would be closing, as the land that the drive-in sits on is leased and the property owner had sold the property. The owners of the drive-in announced on their Facebook page that they were looking for a new location to relocate the drive-in. Shortly after that announcement, they made another announcement on their Facebook page that due to a delay, that the drive-in would be able to operate in 2025 until August or September. We checked the Facebook page for the drive-in while we were putting this video together, and we can no longer find those posts that talked about the drive-in closing.
I remember that they were announcing this on their Facebook Live, and we're kind of thinking maybe that footage is not on Facebook now because it was alive and why we can't find it. We don't know.
Anyway, if the drive-in is operated for its last day at this location at the end of 2024, or if it's still going to continue for a few more months in 2025. We wanted to document the history of the place and make a video to preserve the memories of the way it looked. And if I remember right, Sonia, you told me that your mom used to work at this drive-in when you were a kid.
Yeah, way before the owners that have it now. My mother actually cleaned up in the mornings after the show had gone on that night. And me and my sister would just go out and roam around the grounds before the guy was cleaning up to see what people dropped on the ground. Because back then, they didn't give you trash bags to put stuff in.
Did you ever find anything cool?
We did find some cool stuff, some inappropriate stuff, I'm sure. And we did find a wallet once, and my mom turned it into the police. And the guy actually came and recovered it. And he actually came by and actually gave us a little bit of a reward for finding it and keeping everything in it. Sadly, my mom, she made me and my sister go out and buy coats. We're allowed to buy toys.
So your mom was the sensible one in the family.
Yeah. It was scary, though, going in there and cleaning after the night. One time we went in there and someone broke in and busted the glass and there was blood. And we didn't go inside and we called the police. Of course, back then you had to go back home and call the police because you didn't have a cell phone. So luckily we only lived not too far from here.
And probably back then, it actually had a fence all the way around it.
Yeah, there was a fence all the way around the sides.
So like today, it's open on most of the sides, so it's not so isolated in there if you're inside. But back when you were in there, no one would have even known you were in there.
No, and it was scary because I do remember that a car did drive through there when me and my sister were out playing around outside of the building. And we went back in real quick and let Mom know that there was someone driving up to let her know someone was coming. So she used the phone in the building to call my father, and he came over. And by then, that car had left.
Interesting story. Well, we're going to go ahead and show you what we filmed. This space in the front of the drive-in looks like at one time, maybe it was a miniature golf course. Looking at the aerial views from the drone, you can definitely see where there was something in this space, and there's still a light standing in the middle of this area. Here's the sign that stands out in front of the drive-in. On the left side of the sign is the exit from the drive-in theater. You turn in here to the right of the sign, go down the driveway to the ticket booth. The driveway is wide enough that a double line of cars can line up at the ticket booth before they enter the drive-in. The Auto-Vue Drive-In can hold up to 450 cars. As you look out across the drive-in parking area, you see the poles are still in the ground from the old days when they used to have speakers on these poles that you would put on your window to listen to the movies. The concession building sits in the middle of the parking area of the drive-in. Here's the big screen where they show all the movies. We hope you enjoyed this video of the Sidney Auto-Vue Drive-In Theater. We're going to go ahead and put a link in the description to the Drive-In Theater's Facebook page. We would encourage everyone to support this small business. This family has done an amazing job of preserving and maintaining a piece of American culture. We wish them the best in the future for finding a place to relocate this drive-in and to continue the business as it is today. If the owners of the Auto-Vue would like to tell their story of the drive-in history, please reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to sit down with you, put a camera in front of you, and let you tell your story to the rest of the world and share it right here on our channel. Well, that's going to do it for today. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. As always, thanks for watching.
See ya down the road.
Bye for now.
Bye.